Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Bixi Backpack, which is an exciting addition to Tom Bihn's travel bag lineup. Tom Bihn, of course, is legendary in the carry and travel community. Their bags offer really unique, versatile layouts, super durable. They have an excellent ecosystem of accessories, and the Bixi Backpack combines many of the elements of their travel bags that I've enjoyed in the past with a more kind of traditional clamshell style travel bag, which I'm always a big fan of, to create something, very versatile, useful, and that has kind of that distinct Tom Bihn flair. So really excited to share it. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to use it. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing, as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, the bag has a fairly minimal but still functional vibe that feels very much in line with Tom Bihn's typical style. So it's not necessarily the most modern or sleek bag, but it doesn't have a ton of straps or attachment points on the exterior. It doesn't feel overly technical. And I really like this subdued appearance, as it feels like it's going to allow it to blend in nicely into a variety of environments, which is always a good thing for travel, as it won't call a ton of attention to itself. And then as far as the materials, the bag feels very solidly built. This exterior fabric is ballistic nylon, which feels really rugged. I've had a couple of Tom Bihn bags with this fabric, and it's held up great over the years. The Scenic 30 that I have with this still looks pretty much like new, and I've used that bag a lot, so very, very solid. It also feels like something that's going to offer a nice amount of weather resistance, and then beyond that, you have the really beefy YKK zippers all throughout. Continuing along the outside of the bag, I was happy to see that the bag has an external water bottle pocket, which is a little bit of a newer feature for Tom Bihn bags. I know their Addicts backpack also had an external water bottle pocket, and so great to see it here. The implementation is pretty simple but nice. It's got this really durable feeling, sort of elastic material that's going to be able to handle a 20-ounce water bottle very easily. Probably something a little bit thicker should be able to fit in there, but my 20-ounce slides in and out. The pocket still kind of maintains its shape even when it's a little bit emptier, so although it stretches, it doesn't necessarily pull the pocket up close to the bag, but still really nice to have this included. And then you have a couple of excellent handles, one at the top and one at the side. So if you're carrying this like a briefcase, if you want to load this into an overhead storage compartment, these feel very sturdy. There's a nice amount of padding. They're just really nice to grab. At the bottom of the bag, you have a little loop that could be used for something like a bike light, and then you have the Tom Bihn logo front and center. They have the classic logo here with the red airplane, which I've always been a fan of. And then the last thing I'll call out while we're talking about the exterior is whether the bag stands up on its own. And here you can see that when the bag is loaded out, it does manage to stand up well consistently. It does have a pretty wide flat bottom, but it doesn't have a super rigid shape. So as you start to empty the bag out, or the weight starts to shift a little bit, there is a chance that it may tip. As far as the capacity, the bag comes in at about 32 liters, which is a really great one bag travel size in my opinion. It's a little bit smaller than my typical 35 liter size that I use for this type of trip, but it didn't feel like I was losing much in the way of capacity just because of the layout and the fact that the fabric is a little bit more flexible. This might be slightly too big for everyday carry, or even for using as a personal item on a lot of flights, but it's still a size that never felt overwhelmingly big or bulky, and it's like something that I would easily be able to carry on to pretty much any domestic or international airline, as well as comfortably use for navigating a city or jumping onto public transit. Taking a look at the harness system, so far the bag has been really comfortable to wear. This uses the same edgeless style straps that Tom Bihn has been using in their bags for a while, which just feel really nice. This padding is very almost gel-like, soft, comfortable. The inside doesn't have any sort of breathable mesh per se, but this material is soft, it feels nice, and the straps have a pretty good width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out. There's also the edgeless nature of the straps, so it never feels like they're pinching your shoulders, which is really nice. And then you have an adjustable and removable sternum strap to help distribute the weight, as well as an included waist strap to help stabilize the bag. This, as I always like to call out, isn't necessarily something that's going to add a ton of support or alleviate the weight from your back, but it could help keep the bag from sliding side to side. And then as usual, you are able to remove this if you don't want to use it. So that's typically what I will do with a bag of this size. And then one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that in addition to the top handle here, you also have a secondary one near the straps, which is a little bit simpler, but that's gonna work nicely for hanging the bag up when it's not in use. As far as the back paneling, this has also been pretty comfortable. There's a nice amount of padding that's well distributed throughout the back. This uses this skeleton style foam that we saw on bags like the Shadow Guide, which I've always been a fan of. In addition, you have this mesh here to provide some extra breathability. And the padding is interesting here because you have one layer in this section that separates up, and then you have some padding on the back. One thing I noticed is that there's not really like a rigid frame sheet in the same way that the Cynic has. You may be able to add that on your own, but it wasn't present here in the unit that I tested. Regardless, it still felt nice to wear this even for a longer period of time. And then one additional feature that I really liked here, and I thought it was a pretty unique implementation, is the luggage pass-through. So you can rest this on a suitcase both horizontally or vertically, so you have a little bit more flexibility than you typically would with a luggage pass-through. So if you want to use the handle on the side to rest this on your luggage, maybe if the handle isn't quite as tall, you can do so, but then you also have the vertical pass-through if you want to rest it and easily be able to access your laptop while you're on the go. Jumping into the organizational options, the bag keeps things fairly minimal, especially by Tom Bihn standards, but it's a really functional layout. Starting off on the front, you have a larger zippered kind of admin area that does have the ability to lock, and this goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag, so it's a pretty tall compartment, which I'm always a fan of, just to give you some additional flexibility with the types of items that you could store. Also a good secondary compartment for something like a jacket or some additional pouches. And then you have some built-in organization here near the top. And so diving into the items that I just have laying on the front first, I have the Evergood Civic Access pouch, 1 liter. Even though it's pretty full, I was able to slide down there comfortably. And then I also have my alpaca admin pouch, and even with those in there, there was still some leftover capacity. And then here on the back, you have just a couple of larger slip pockets. I like that these have a little bit of volume so it can handle something like my sunglasses, even in its bulkier case. These aren't elastic, so things can slide out if you happen to tip the bag over. Something to keep in mind. And then next to that, you have a slightly smaller one, which is a perfect spot for something like a mouse or some cables to charge my tablet and my phone. Then next to that, couple of slots for something like a pen or a stylus. And then of course it wouldn't be a Tom Bihn bag without the O-ring system, which I'm always a big fan of. I think this is so clever and it matches up really nicely with the accessories that Tom Bihn sells. So the bag does include a lanyard with a clip here. That's going to be a good spot for your keys, a multi-tool. In my case, I have a little flashlight attached here. And then on the other side, I actually clipped on my Ghost Whale pouch, which always has just some additional tech and EDC items that I like to have with me while I'm on a flight. And then there's one additional zippered pocket here, which again is pretty tall, so it's going to be able to handle something like a tablet very easily. Currently what I have here is my iPad mini, but that really slides down towards the bottom. There is plenty of leftover space here if you have a larger tablet that you want to store, or if you want to use it to hold maybe a taller folder, a magazine, or a book. On the back of the bag, you have a dedicated laptop compartment, and this has 2 zippers, so you can open it from either direction. Interesting thing to note here is you have the reverse coil zippers to give you maybe just a little bit more protection against the elements, but you do not have the ability to lock this compartment in the same way that you do the primary compartments, which is an interesting choice. I would have thought that this compartment might want to have the extra theft deterrent, so something to keep in mind there. On the inside, you have this sleeve that's meant to hold your device that's not necessarily rigid, but it has this soft kind of mesh similar to what you'll find in the Cynic 30 and 22, and I like that it is suspended off the bottom of the ground, so you can drop your laptop in there. It's not making contact with the bottom of the ground, which is always nice, and this should be able to hold a 15 or 16 inch laptop pretty comfortably. Currently what I have here is my 14-inch MacBook Pro, but you can see there's plenty of leftover space here, and it's also really easy to get your device in and out, which is very helpful while you're going through TSA. And now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside, so it comes up a decent amount. If you have a thicker device, it should be able to handle it. And then on the other side, there is plenty of space. This area here is not suspended, but if you happen to have a larger device, a taller device, or you want to pair it with one of Tom Bihn's caches, it should be able to fit in there comfortably as well. But with the sleeve that's included here and the fact that it's suspended off the bottom of the ground, it felt like my device was going to be very well protected while I'm on the go. And then moving into the main compartment, this has pretty much a full clamshell style opening, and this zipper does have the ability to lock. And so opening it up, you have plenty of visibility into this main area. Pretty simple bucket style layout here, but that's what allows it to hold so much, even though it comes in at that 32 liters of capacity. So diving into the items that I have here, my typical loadout, I have some Toms that I tossed there at the top. And then for the dop kit on this one, I'm using Tom Bihn's clear 3D cube, which has always been one of the more underrated dop kits in my opinion, particularly as it can double as a liquids bag, which I absolutely love. Just take it out if TSA needs to see it. You also have some O-rings, so you can pair it with any of the clips that Tom Bihn has in their ecosystem. You can hang it up. So really nice compact kit there. And then my typical packing cube setup, you have some compression straps here that are built in, and you can take them off if you don't want to use them. These compression straps are included with the bag, I meant. And so they're great for just kind of keeping everything secure and pressing things down to save a little bit of space. And so I have my smaller Peak Design packing cube as well as the larger compressible packing cube, and all of that just fits in there perfectly. Tom Bihn has their own ecosystem of packing cubes that are also really great. I haven't had a chance to try out all of their cubes, but you know, any sort of packing cube setup is going to work well with this type of simpler space. And then you have these compression straps that you can remove if you prefer not to use them. On the inside here, you can get a better view of the halcyon interior. I've always been a fan of the pattern and feel of this material. Hopefully Tom Bihn will start to bring it back on some of their bags on the exterior, because I always thought that was a very cool, unique look. And so yeah, no other internal organization on this side. And then on the lid, you have some additional pocketing, 2 mesh zippered areas that have this really nice high quality elastic mesh and a good amount of space, particularly with the flexible nature of the bag. And this bottom one, I just used it to store a laundry stuff sack, which is a travel accessory from Tom Bihn that I really like to toss into my bags. Great place to store dirty socks and underwear. It has a clean and a dirty section if you're not using your packing cubes. And on the inside here, you do have a couple of O-rings, so you can pair it with other accessories. And then at the top, you have one additional zippered pocket. This one is interesting because it goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag. So it's a really tall compartment, which can give you some flexibility if you want to use it to store maybe some additional shirts, a jacket, or just separate things out. And then you also have O-rings in this section as well that you can pair with something like the handy little thing pouch, which has been one of my favorite tech organizers for a long time. Absolutely love the clips that this includes. And then you just have a ton of built-in organization here. Whether you're using it for tech, you can use it as a dop kit. A lot of different functionality provided by this and any of the other pouches that Tom Bihn sells. So it all combines very nicely. Really like the layout and space offered in this main area, and just how everything is thought out throughout the rest of the bag. Very functional, super easy to use. And if you're a fan of Tom Bihn's aesthetic, of the durability of their bags, and you're looking for a really versatile one bag travel option, this is going to be an excellent option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a great experience testing out the Tom Bihn Bixi Backpack. If you want to learn more about the bag, you can check out the link that I've included below to Tom Bihn's site. At the time of filming, they may still be running a pre-order. I'm not sure if they'll be available on the site directly, but they're going to have a variety of color combinations that you can purchase. The bag's going to come in at around $350, so definitely premium pricing, as is typically the case with Tom Bihn's bags. They're very solidly built. They always offer a nice feature set, and they're assembled in the USA in smaller batches. So all of those factors typically combine to lead to that higher price point. You get a lot of value for it, but there's also going to be some other great bags in this price range that may be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of is the Tom Bihn Scenic 30, which is one of the most popular bags in the one bag travel community. It just has a really great functional layout. The pocket system on that is just fantastic. Everything is very easy to get to. Each pocket has its own individual volume. The shape of the bag is a little bit more rounded than this one here, but it still has a clamshell style opening, so it's going to be able to hold an impressive amount. It comes in at around 30 liters, so slightly smaller than this. It might be a little more usable for everyday carry, but still, a good amount of space. There is also the Scenic 22, which is more compact if you like that form factor, but again, it just is really about the organizational layout and then the way that you can combine all of those pockets with the accessories that Tom Bihn sells. Beyond that, it has similar harness system to this one here, so very comfortable, really rugged materials offered in a couple of different fabrics and colors. And so if you're a fan of Tom Bihn's build quality, the versatility, then that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. The next bag this made me think of is the updated edition of the Pack Travel Backpack. That one is also very durable, comfortable harness system, and a really interesting layout. It's got a split opening that gives you kind of 2 compartments for you to organize all of your stuff. It opens kind of like a suitcase. The laptop compartment is in the middle of the bag, which might not be for everybody. It's an interesting system that I go back and forth on. And then the pocket layout on that is just very, very useful. You have a nice variety. It also has the ability to expand, and it is offered in 2 different sizes. So if you're looking for a bag with, plenty of organization that's got that type of a vibe, then that's gonna be a fantastic option to keep in mind. Another bag this made me think of is the Evergood CTB26. I actually recently did a comparison between that and the Scenic 30. I've talked about the CTB26 a lot on the channel over the past year or 2. I just absolutely love the layout and the aesthetic of that bag. The pocketing is just super useful, great quick access, dedicated, padded, and suspended laptop compartment. It's got a luggage pass-through, comfortable harness system, water bottle pockets, so it checks off just a lot of the boxes of the stuff that I'm typically looking for out of a bag. At 26 liters, it's a pretty versatile kind of larger EDC, but still useful for minimal travel. It's not quite as spacious as this one here, but still it's gonna offer an impressive amount of space. And if you're looking for something durable that's gonna offer a subdued aesthetic, that's gonna be one of the best options to take a look at. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Air Travel Pack 3 Small, which has been one of my favorite minimal travel bags of the past couple of years. Really sleek, modern style, lots of organization and protection for your tech, a dedicated, well-padded and suspended laptop compartment, lots of pockets for all of your daily essentials, clamshell style opening. It's got a very comfortable harness system, luggage pass-through, just a really functional, useful bag. It is also offered in a larger 35-liter size, so if you need a little bit more capacity, you're gonna have options that are either smaller or larger than this one here, depending on your needs. They also sell a well-padded and removable waist belt, so just a lot of flexibility. And if you're looking for something, again, that has a more modern, techie feel, then that's gonna be one of the best options to keep in mind. With that being said, the Tom Bihn Bixi Backpack holds up really well against all those bags, and I've actually been surprised with how much I've enjoyed using it. It's a deceptively functional bag. It seems kind of simple at first glance, but what it includes works very, very well. Just super intuitive, and on top of that, it's gonna be very durable, comfortable, and if you're looking for a useful one-bag travel option, this is really gonna be an excellent option to keep in mind. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Tom Bihn Bixi Backpack and how it compares to some of the other popular travel bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I wanna thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.